I felt the need to make this video because I think a lot of people think very highly of their franchises, the teams that they're fans of, or they see teams that have like certain stars and they think, that's the way a team needs to be run. They go to the playoffs all the time. They got these stars. So there's some truth to those things, right? Getting stars, keeping stars, it's all important. But there's so much more to building a long-term sustainable playoff run type franchise. The OKC Thunder are clearly the best franchise in the NBA. They are doing everything right. And I want to go through some of those things here today. And I want to take a look at what they've done in the offseason that proves this. So I'm of the belief that there are a few really, really good GMs in the NBA. The rest of them are just donating and just getting played by the good GMs. And I think it's the mistakes of certain GMs that are operating out of lack or operating out of fear or operating out of insecurity or whatever the case may be. Maybe they don't feel their job is secure, so they have to do something spectacular. But the Spurs have done some amazing things. The Miami Heat have always done some great things with, what they've had in making playoff runs and stuff like that. I think the GM of the Cavs is really, really good. I think the rest of the leadership, meaning like coaching and the owner and stuff, I think all that's kind of garbage. But what the Pistons have done is really nice, so they've done a good job. But the Thunder are the model franchise in the NBA. As good as the Spurs have done things recently, the Spurs are incredible. I don't want to downplay them. But the Thunder are clearly the best. And ironically, those are the two that are going to be going back and forth for years to come. Look at what OKC has done. They have completely secured their future of their stars. SGA's locked in long-term, the MVP, NBA Finals MVP champion. Chet Holmgren, J-Dub, parts of those runs. They're key cogs of this team. Obviously, those are the core three. But the rest of the stuff is hitting too, right? So they just extended Isaiah Hartenstein, and they made some trades. They moved on from a couple of players due to some extenuous depth at the wing position. So Isaiah Joe gets traded to the Pistons, Aaron Wiggins to the Atlanta Hawks. And then what the Thunder are able to do is improve their pick positions in the draft and then kind of alleviate some of the financial burdens and pressures of the salary cap restrictions for things like, first apron, second apron penalties and stuff like that. And again, like I said, improving draft positions and draft picks. They just continue to do everything right. Notice they are somehow able to address win now and win later. See, that's a good team. There are many teams who are operating in win now. And they're making moves that are like complete head scratchers. I don't know what's going on in Minnesota. I don't know what's really happening in Houston. You have nice young players, but you don't see team construction actually being the most important thing in terms of long-term sustainability. That's my concern with those teams. Same thing with the Cavs. You see them bring in James Harden. What are you doing there? That's no proven winner. And then, you're seeing some of the other moves that are going around in the league, and it's just complete head scratchers. LaMelo Ball to Minnesota. You were in the Eastern Conference Finals just a couple of years ago. Now you got wholesale changes. You move on from Julius Randle after trading for him, after trading Karl Anthony Towns, who's a piece of a championship team. There are teams that are doing some really crazy, dumb things. Look at the Warriors hanging on too long and not properly rebuilding the team, not coaching and developing players. It's just wild to me. And you look at the Suns, now they're kind of going in the right direction. But it is so obvious to me that the team that builds through the draft and then makes key acquisitions and then keeps that group together after knowing that they've constructed a winner, they seem to just continue to run laps around the rest of the NBA. So whether it's drafting your guys or in the case of SGA, you bring them in a trade and just fleece the Clippers, especially when you think about the long term. That's vision. That's philosophy. That's execution. That's intelligence. Thoughtful, considerate. OKC just does everything right. Why am I gushing all over the OKC Thunder? Because I think their sustainable roster construction is going to keep them in the Western Conference Finals for the rest of this decade. And I know a lot of people will only talk about, what do they call those things? The dynasties, right? You got to win multiple championships. Yeah, I mean, a lot of things can happen, but you can bet your bottom dollar that the Thunder are going to have a better year next year than this year, and it has to do with health. If J-Dub doesn't get injured for like 75% of the season, they probably win a championship because they took the Spurs 7 games. And the Spurs are going to get better, so I don't want to, poo-poo them at all. And respect to the Knicks for putting it all together. But their path to a repeat is going to be very challenging and difficult with a West that's going to be stronger than it was last year because the Spurs will be better and more experienced, and because the OKC Thunder will be better constructed. They'll have allocated minutes for guys like A.J. Mitchell and Kane and these guys that are emerging as players, and they still have their stars, and they're still really good defensively, and they drafted, and they've got more picks in the future. This is crazy. The Thunder are fleecing the entire NBA year after year after year, and they've constructed a team that is sustainable and built to make runs every single year for the foreseeable future. And everything the Thunder do, it seems to hit. I don't even see where their mistakes are. Every other team you can find mistakes. This one, it's almost like they're Teflon done, and they just, nothing sticks. It's crazy. Anyways, look out for them. They'll be back next year to make another deep playoff run. I don't think there's any question about it.